New Ebola czar. He starts his job today. His name is Ron Klain. For those who aren't familiar with him, he's at the White House today having a lot of meetings. He'll sit down with the president and talk about the U.S. Ebola response, or lack thereof, some would say. The meeting comes after he declined an invitation to testify before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee on this Friday. Utah Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz is on that committee, and he joins me now. I'm talking too fast. Jason, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So you invited him to come on Friday?
Yeah, I think it's he's on the job as of today. Why not come talk to the American people in the Congress, answer questions from both Democrats and Republicans on Friday? It seemed like a simple request, but he refused.
Why?
I don't know. We're off to a bad start. This is something that everybody in the country is thinking about. The president thinks enough to put this person in that place. We have questions as to whether or not he should actually be in that spot. But what about the budget? What about the response? What about all these other agencies that are set up to deal with this? There's some very basic questions, but why not come answer those questions?
Now, they're gonna come out and speak. Apparently, they will address what his job is going to be. I think the American people deserve to know what the description is, what he is expected to accomplish. The Bush administration, I spoke with Dr. Richard Carmona, who was the Surgeon General at that time. They had hazmat plans that they distributed to every hospital in the country after 9/11 because they were very worried that Ebola could be weaponized at that point, many years ago. Where's that plan?
Well, again, why not have the Surgeon General have this up? I mean, I think that's a very legitimate question. At least you have somebody who has a medical background, who's been confirmed by the United States Senate. That's where we should be actually, I think, going. We also have FEMA and other agencies. But let's also remember, under President Clinton and President Bush, we actually had a special assistant to the president for biodefense policy. President Obama got rid of that position because it's bigger and broader than just Ebola. There are other types of things that can be infectious diseases or bio attacks on the homeland. And yet President Obama got rid of that position. Now he's suddenly trying to backfill it after calls from Congress to try to get somebody in as a point person, but why not go with the Surgeon General?
My fear is that, if this is under control, and we hope and pray that it is under control, and we've just read a report a little while ago that says that they think 4 to 6 months in West Africa they can get it under control, which is very different than the numbers that we were hearing just a month ago. So that's clearly good news. But you easily become complacent. And then the next thing comes down the pike, whether it's an intentional terrorist attack, another disease, and we are telling the same exact story again to the American people.
President Clinton, President Bush, they saw this as a potential threat. That's why they set up a special assistant to the president. President Obama gets rid of that. Now they're suddenly trying to react within a couple days, and he's not even prepared enough to come answer Congress. What does that say about this position that he's filling? If he doesn't feel comfortable answering very basic questions from Congress, is he really ready to be up on the job when it's happening in real time right now?
I wonder about this meeting this afternoon at the White House, and we can find out, but if the acting Surgeon General, Dr. Boris Lushniak, who by all accounts is an incredibly accomplished doctor, he's worked at the CDC, has a ton of experience in public health, if I'm in his shoes and I'm looking at Ron Klain, I'm saying, I'm embarrassed because I'm thinking, gee, that should be my job. I'm equipped to do it. I'm here. I'm showing up for work every day, and this guy's going to do it?
It kind of begs the question as to what does the Surgeon General do? You have somebody who's got a medical history, background, expertise, who understands the bureaucracy. Why aren't we empowering that person? I don't understand why the Obama administration is doing it this way, but they chose somebody who is political and not somebody who is actually a doctor, and that's a concern.
What do you think that Ron Klain will do? What do you expect him to do in this job?
I want him to be able to galvanize every aspect of the federal government to get them moving in the right direction, but now he's going to be placed under Homeland Security, reporting to an assistant, to the secretary, reports to the president. I mean, he's fairly far removed in this position. I understand his ties within the White House are tight, and he's had experience as the chief of staff for Vice President Biden, but I don't know what he understands medically.
Well, we hope when they come out and talk about it that there will be specific benchmarks and that people can sort of gauge the progress in terms of how well he meets all of those.
I want a doctor telling me how to deal with this.
All right, so we will see. Hopefully you'll get Dr. Klain in front of your committee before too long. Thank you, Congressman.
Thanks,
Good to see you, Jason.